Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 is the latest in a series of cash-ins artlessly vomited into our media holes to squeeze an ounce of profit from this ailing, abortive franchise. In this one, get this, Leatherface kills people with a chainsaw. I know, quite a twist. Also, the final girl from the first one's back for revenge. Boy, haven't I seen that somewhere before? Yes, I've seen everything in this movie before. Another beautiful day in paradise. Who could be calling me right now? What is this? Hey, it's Mildred. Mildred who? From Scaredy Cats. Oh, Mildo. Oh, just checking in, seeing how you're doing. Yeah, things are good, better than ever, some might say. As you know, the moment I left your little channel behind, I became a multi-billionaire. But I gave the billions away, Mildo, and I basically solved world hunger. Now I'm still comfortably rich, but not in a way that people would dislike, Time magazine called me the star of the economy. How's your little Vimeo channel doing? Getting by without me all right? Well, it's a YouTube channel, but things are going good, actually. Today we're doing a review of Texas Chainsaw... Oh, sorry, Mildew, I'm getting another call. I don't want to name drop here, but it's Batman. He's real. We're doing a thing together. Keep that between us, by the way. He don't like it when people know that he's real. I want to meet Batman. No, can't do, Mildew. He's pretty selective with his company, but I'm glad things are going good for you, seeing as how you thought of me when you was high on marijuana edibles. Listen, I'll talk to you later, okay? That conversation was the second worst part of my day. The worst, obviously, was watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. I knew it would be bad. I knew it would be a boring, joyless waste of time. But what surprised me about it was nothing. I expected everything that happened in this movie, beat for beat. Nominally, I suppose I am reviewing this film, but there isn't much of substance to actually talk about. There's only so many ways that I can tell you that this movie sucks shit before I start repeating myself. Instead, I would like to make a desperate, impassioned plea. I must be heard on this issue. Please, stop making Texas Chainsaw movies. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a masterpiece, one of the best horror movies of all time. A movie which depicts the anxieties of the mid-70s as a cultural entropy, the breakdown of order and structure in the world, giving way to a latent animalistic chaos. A world where just beyond the horizon, evil and madness lurk around every corner. Every subsequent movie in the franchise has been about, what if a big man had a chainsaw? Wouldn't that be fucked up? Or in the case of 2013's Texas Chainsaw 3D, maybe it would be good. Maybe you'd like it if a big man had a chainsaw.
Do your thing, cuz.
I will give a pass, of course, to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. That movie intentionally went in a different direction to be a goofy comedy. That's something, at least. The results are mostly irritating, but it marks the last time that anyone would actually try to make a movie in this franchise instead of merely reminding you of a movie. There should not be a franchise of Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. To attempt to go deeper into this world and explore these characters robs them of the inscrutability and chaotic madness that made them scary in the first place. There's no reason that Leatherface wears a leather face or does silly little chainsaw dances. Well, actually he has a skin condition and his family was abusive, so he learned from an early age to hide. Shut up! It isn't better to understand why he is the way he is, because then he's just a guy who things happen to, not the emergent violence of a world devoid of meaning. Something terrifying and unexplainable lurking just beyond the boundaries you have yet to explore. No, you see, he is a big man with a chainsaw. And nowhere is he bigger or chainsawier than in TCM 2022, which I will be calling Chainsaw 22 for brevity and clarity's sake going forward. In this movie, Leatherface kills about a cajillion people, just because they're around. Does he eat them? No. Does he make things from them? No. Does he have any real motivation to kill most of them? Again, no. But at least it doesn't fit with his characterization from the original film. But I mean, you can't put Chainsaw Massacre in the title of a movie and then not have a Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, you could do that. And the movie would be better if they did that, but they didn't. This one goes back to the franchise's roots and is just a direct sequel to the first movie, because that's the thing we do now. It also doesn't make any sense that it's that, because The movie presents Leatherface as a serial killer who acted alone when he had a whole family of murdering cannibals. Why is Leatherface the only one who's still around? How come nobody talks about the other Sawyers? Everyone's like, oh, Leatherface was never caught. What about Drayton Sawyer? Was he caught? Answer, it doesn't matter because nobody's going to buy a Todd McFarlane toy of Drayton Sawyer. No, let's simplify this so that it's only the most marketable guy doing the killing. And I don't want to give you the impression that Chainsaw 22 is bad merely as a sequel to the original film. It's more than capable of standing on its own as an abject failure. The characters are thoroughly unlikable, its attempts at social commentary are constantly shoved in your face despite having literally nothing to say. It's simultaneously loud, but also boring. It makes the antagonist so absurdly powerful that there can be no genuine sense of menace, and it feels at times as though the characters are themselves consciously deciding to prolong the movie's runtime. For example, the movie brings back Sally from the first movie. She's out for revenge, and she's been waiting to get Leatherface ever since that fateful night. It's an absolute rip-off of Halloween 2018. Without understanding what made that plot beat work in that movie, audiences give a shit about Laurie Strode because Jamie Lee Curtis is a great actor and there's a sense of personal connection between her and Michael Myers. She has an arc where she learns that her trauma doesn't excuse her own abusive behavior. You know, a story? Sally, by contrast, blunders into this movie with a couple of lines of dialogue to establish that she's become a Texas Ranger, so I guess she's tough or whatever. She confronts Leatherface with a shotgun in one scene, and when she realizes that he doesn't remember her, she's so stunned by this that she lets him walk out of the room and out of the house holding a revving chainsaw. Now I ask you this. If you were in a room with literally Leatherface, and he had a revving chainsaw in his hands, and you already had a shotgun pointed at his face with your finger on the trigger, and also you had dedicated the past 50 years of your life specifically to killing Leatherface, would you let him walk out the door so that he could go chainsaw some teen girls you kept in your truck outside also for no reason? Leatherface tries to chainsaw the teens, and Sally shoots at him. Why did she wait until that moment? I don't know. Perhaps Leatherface can only be killed when in the presence of teens. I am willing to suspend my disbelief a great deal when watching a movie. I can believe that Leatherface can take a couple bullets to the chest and keep coming at you. That's equally unrealistic, but I will simply not question it, because it makes the movie better that he can do that. I typically find it quite tiresome when people complain about characters not behaving intelligently in horror movies. But after a point, it does kinda take you out of the story, particularly when it's not motivated whatsoever. How about this? Same scene, have Sally's gun jam. Big exciting moment. She trains her gun on the killer, the soundtrack fades away, and we just hear Sally's heartbeat. She's waited 50 years for this moment. She steadies her aim, squeezes the trigger, click. Oh no, now what's she gonna do? She can't defend herself, and Leatherface has a chainsaw. And then, just as it seems like he's about to get her, he instead walks out the door, and at first she thinks that's good news, but then realizes he's going towards the girls in the truck. So she has to, fix her gun before he chainsaws the teens. And that actually informs her character because it shows that she wants to protect the teens and also that she's trained with firearms and understands how to maintain her gun. If you're gonna tell me that shotguns don't jam, I don't give a shit. I don't care. It's a movie. Just do anything. Do something to motivate this in the movie. She just lets him walk out of the room, cut to him strolling down the street. Between shots, I assume Sally stood motionless with her gun pointed at the empty air until the script activated her again. She just lets him wander around and almost kills some teens before shooting him, because if she just shot him in the head when she had the chance, the movie would end too quickly. Maybe consider that the audience knows she won't shoot Leatherface because there's still a half hour to go in the movie, and don't write in a circumstance where she could easily do that. And hey, while we're on the subject of guns, the movie really wants you to think it has something to say about gun violence. These fucking libs don't like guns, but conservatives, they do like guns. Did you know that? Because that's all this movie has to say about it. These filthy libs are looking through Instagram with posts that are guns with no symbols put over them to subtly convey their disdain for guns. The main character survived a school shooting, so she's traumatized about guns. But this guy, who drives a big truck, he likes guns. He owns an assault rifle 15, the gun heavily associated with school shootings. He doesn't like that the libs are rude and condescending to him, but he's also kind of a dick himself, so it's up to you whether or not you agree with him and agree with his guns, because the movie's not going to take a side on it. Not to make this political, but I lean somewhat left of center myself, and had been told that this movie was very conservative. And I'm here to tell you, no it isn't. It would be much better if it was. At least then, it would have a point of view. Instead, it is this gutless attempt to not offend anyone that wants to give the appearance of discussing divisive political issues without taking a stand on any of them. Leatherface's adoptive mother has a Confederate flag, and this guy doesn't like it because of slavery. She understands why that would bother him, and she doesn't keep it to demean anyone.
What was this about my flag? You got me all wrong. I've taken care of many boys like you over the years.
Just to remind herself of her great-grandfather, who I guess she had a real good relationship with. She's just out of touch, not hateful.
It's not what you think. That flag belonged to my great-granddaddy. It reminds me of him.
See, we're here in this mushy middle ground that is guaranteed to piss off anyone despite their political persuasion. This old lady essentially makes the heritage not hate argument, while also agreeing that it is a hate symbol. Liberals will be mad that the movie excuses valorizing the Confederate Army, and conservatives will be mad that the movie concedes that it is understandable to be offended by the Confederate flag. Everyone's mad, and the movie didn't say anything. There's much discussion of gentrification in the film, but it presents the gentrifiers as a multiracial coalition ousting the white working class from the area. The rich people moving in and destroying the local charm while also making the town unaffordable for the people who had lived there before are all out-of-touch coastal elites who want to cancel Leatherface on Twitter so that they can build their artisanal organic cupcake shops or whatever. But the people who live around the town? Well, they're also backwoods freak people who the movie makes sure to remind you police black people with greater severity than white people. Boy, don't you feel like you can see both sides? At least have the guts to piss me off on purpose, movie. You know? At least give me the dignity of being angry. Hey, stop making these movies. We do not need more Texas Chainsaw movies. The premise of Big Man Has Chainsaw is not interesting enough to sustain a franchise when you divorce it from the larger context and thematic coherence of the original film. None of the sequels, save Part 2, even try to contribute anything interesting. No new ideas are explored. They simply attempt over and over to make the shitty version of the original movie that the general public assumes must have existed. Chainsaw 22 is by far the most irritating of these attempts, somehow managing to be even louder, dumber, and cheaper than even 2013's Texas Chainsaw 3D, something I would not have thought possible.
Do your thing, cuz.
Do not reward its utter contempt for your intelligence and time by watching it. Do not ever, again, watch a new Texas Chainsaw movie, ever. And they won't make them anymore. That's the world we could live in. We could be there.